And I probably have to mute it in this other tab that I have open. But we are live, guys. Okay. We're live to us, but we're not live to them. So I'm assuming it's going to eventually switch over, like I didn't hit refresh or something. Yeah. Okay, so I just need to hit refresh on the page. So now that I've confirmed that we're live, one of y'all needs to mute yourself because there's a ton of feedback. Okay, must have been Heidi. Okay. So there's already a bunch of people here, so I'm just going to cut straight to the chase because they've already been waiting. And just full disclosure, guys, Matt's not feeling 100%. So like, let's keep it like understanding other people's personal circumstances, and that's going to be relevant because how we move quickly, we're going to be kind of concise. Oh, this is so weird. I'm sorry, boys. This is weird. As soon as I say the thing you say, I'm just going to move on, but it's really weird to just start. It's just weird. It feels inauthentic, but I'm just going to go for it. Let's see if we can change some minds tonight, guys. Okay, so our first topic is Matt Gaetz. And I'm going to share our screen because he had a tweet that I think specifically you wanted to comment on, Matt.
Exactly. So I don't know if you guys saw while she's pulling it up, but basically the content of the tweet here is related to January 6th. And so here we go. If you want to read it, Shy.
Yeah. So it says breaking. Congressman Matt Gaetz calls on FBI Director Christor Wray to fully disclose the role and involvement of FBI operatives during the January 6th Capitol Riot. More details coming. And then he also included a letter that is, if you find his tweet, you can read the letter, but also if you just full screen your screen, it's also legible.
And the questions he has, if you guys want to know, he lines it out right there. There's 3 questions, right? And of course, he says, I expect an answer from your office by August 1st. Thank you, right? But number 1, in the year leading up to the events on January 6th and during January 6th itself, to what extent were the 3 primary militia groups, the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys, and the 3%, infiltrated by agencies of the federal government, including the FBI, or informants of said agencies? Number 2, exactly how many federal undercover agents and confidential informants were present at the Capitol or in the Capitol during the siege, and what roles did they play? Merely passive informants or active instigators? Number 3, of all unindicted co-conspirators referenced in the charging documents of those indicted for crimes on January 6th, how many worked as a confidential informant or as an undercover operative for the federal government? And that's got FBI, Army, counterintelligence, et cetera, listed. So obviously, they're aware that serious things went down on January 6th, and they want to get some questions answered, which will leave us asking why they all blocked the January 6th commission. So it's not a difficult one to figure out.
Yeah, he voted against certifying the election and voted against having the insurrection investigated. And as No Use for Names pointed out in the comments, he himself is being investigated by the FBI. So yeah, this just seems like a shiny thing that he's just trying to, like, I don't know, make us look at for a minute just because of like his horrificness. But fun fact, while researching this last night, I learned that the whistleblower from Florida, who, Rebecca Jones, actually has said that if no one is going to step up, that she's going to attempt to unseat him. If it means like she'll move back to Florida and attempt to unseat him if that's what needs to happen. So I think that that's kind of cool when just like, I don't know, everyday people, and she seems kind of like a boss, kind of everyday person, considering she was trying to expose DeSantis for what he was doing during COVID. Would also take it the next step to run for office, because I don't know, that just seems like the logical thing that moving forward, if we're going to get real change, that's how we get it.
That's kind of sorry, Heidi, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just agreeing and saying right. Go ahead, Matt.
I don't know like details fully, but I mean the state government and local, they went after her pretty hard too, didn't they? Like, do you know some of the details on that, or like, because I don't know them specifically off the top of my head.
Yeah, I didn't really follow it just because it wasn't my state, so I was like, no. But I know that they flubbed the numbers, and she was kind of exposing that they were flubbing the numbers.
Guys, here's homework for all of us. Follow up on that. Go look up her story and I think there's like possible like legal charges and stuff involved. Like she definitely like they went at her, man. So they might have poked the wrong person here. Be interesting to watch.
Yeah, and Carnage in the comments is saying that she loves her. So I was like, yeah, well, like she can't be like if she's got Carnage's endorsement, I'm immediately like, yeah, she's got to be doing something right.
100%. It's almost like if Carnage endorses something, I'm like 80% on board already. I'm like, oh, interesting.
I'm wondering, are there any other Congress people, making the same request of the FBI? I mean, it just seems like such a weird thing. Like we have all these little tiny things happening, but no real movement in our government. And I mean, sending a letter to somebody in any business setting, and our government is a business, doesn't do much if they don't want to provide you the information. Giving a deadline that will not be adhered to. I mean, I don't want to be negative Nelly here, but
No, you're 100% right. Like I said, I don't think his end game is because he actually wants them to investigate things. I think his end game is he's just trying to get the heat off himself because, like as was stated before, like he himself is being investigated by the FBI right now.
Right.
Someone said that because that's what he was doing about a month ago. I mean, about give or take. He went out and had that really weird interview on Tucker where he was trying to get ahead of that story, right, about him and possible underage women, things of that nature. So he's got that to deal with. He could have a real challenge in his district, possibly. He's been running around with MTG, who we'll be discussing in a second here. So like Shai said, this isn't, I don't think it's a real play. Like, I don't think he's really trying to necessarily get information through this. Maybe he's interested in something, no doubt. Maybe he's trying to look for dirt on the FBI, right, to disparage them, kind of like they're looking on him, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, so for example, if you recall, they're asking about the Proud Boys and stuff like that, right? Do you remember that weird debate I had where that guy literally talked about how the dude in the Proud Boys, the FBI informant and things like that. So there's definitely ties there, which is just fair questions, but that's why we need a real investigation, right? Not some bipartisan sideline shots to deflect from real issues going on in his district and with him. So,
yeah, and we don't know how who has infiltrated Congress that was pro. I hope the insurrection works. I have some speculations, but I'm like, he was not really on my radar as to have speculations about. But I'm like, ooh, maybe he should be. We know
anyone who didn't vote to certify the election.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so therefore, then you could argue that he is, someone who was infiltrated that was pro-insurrection. But I think that's, I'm trying to think, how do you outro this? So if anyone, they've been adding awesome things in the comments, but I'm like, eventually this will become a video that then will have new comments. That's not the chat. So anyone watching this video right now, let us know what you think in the comments about Matt Gaetz' call to have FBI operatives investigated.
Yeah.
For January 6th.
Do you guys agree, disagree? Think we got it wrong? Think there's something we missed? Let us know.
No use for names says Gosar was another. Shai, I can manage the chats if you want. If I can just read them every now and then.
Yeah. I mean, that's great. I know, if you guys are always wondering why I'm darting around, I'm like, because that's what happens when you have 3 monitors and you're trying to do a bunch of things at once. So
yeah,
I'm gonna take away the sharing the screen. So I think this is in between the segments. So I think Boyce is gonna get a 7-minute thing. It's pretty concise, but what else are we gonna say during that segment? So, and then I'm just gonna change the slides so it's ready to go.
All right, Mindful Skeptic says they're all traitors. Hot Sauce also said Matt Gaetz is trying to remain relevant and deflect from his own legal troubles. Carnage says she had a bogus search warrant I saw on the internet. I'm not sure.
She's talking about Rebecca Jones was arrested for being the whistleblower.
Oh, okay. I see. And then, go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's fine. So I was like, we can do the next segment. Man, there's all this pressure because Matt doesn't feel well. So the empath in me is just we got to get through this. We got to even though the intro is really hard for me to say and do.
There's no pressure. We're chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, I can sense it, man. I can feel it. I can tell. So it's all good. I'm not saying I know better than you do, but I'm just saying, like, I have a feeling we should keep it concise. So I feel personal pressure that I'm putting on myself, not you putting pressure on me. So that's the end of the in between. I'm going to say see if we can change some minds for the Marjorie Greene. It's really hard too because I have to look at the camera and read at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Okay, everyone, let's see if we can change some minds today. Matt, we have Marjorie Taylor Greene making the news again. Shocker. This time because last month she was just blatantly anti-Semitic, which isn't really different than like every other month she's been in Congress. But this time she actually got some blowback from like the GOP and actually had to apologize.
Really?
That's what's incredible. Sorry to interrupt, Heidi, because she's been kind of compared to like the female Trump in some ways, right? And it's weird to see this was a real, like, it sounded like a real apology too, man. Yeah, let's go ahead and read it.
So this is what she's apologizing for. So she said, this is like on like, I think it was called American First. Like it was a podcast, like a super conservative podcast. And she said, we can look back at a time in history where people were told to wear a gold star, and they were definitely treated like second-class citizens, so much so that they were put in trains and taken to gas chambers and Nazi Germany. Now, at this point, nothing she has said is factually inaccurate. It's 100% like right on. But she then follows up with, and this is exactly the type of abuse that Nancy Pelosi is talking about. When she was referencing mask mandates, because in Congress, they still have to wear mask because they're in a closed area.
And what was going on during all of this? People getting shit for being anti-Semitic for their criticisms of Israel's conduct toward the Palestinian people. But their same tribe has this going on, right? And this is not a uncommon view. It's rare-ish, right? This is probably about 10% of them, man. This is not like. But what's crazy? Go ahead, Shay.
No, I was just gonna say, and like for the record, I don't have a graphic for this, but you can Google it, people, if you don't believe me. And which I encourage actually, because we should all be doing our own research. Like, don't just take my word for it. Like, do your own research. But last month, she also said that Nazis were the Nationalist Socialist Party, like the Democrats are the Nationalist Socialist Party. So she's trying to create a narrative that like I can never say Nazis are good, and you all know Nazis were super bad. So what if I just make you also think that Democrats are Nazis?
That's always their thing. They always call them the Nazis, like the socialists, right? They're like, Nazis were the socialists, right? And it's like, oy vey. Yeah. So we just got to bypass these conversations, like Retro Waves called it, like this whole she called it out, man, like this whole like push for bipartisanship with people like this. No, that's insanity. Like, it's actual insanity. Like, if you think you can work with that, you are that then in some fashion. Like, so no, like that's not something we can work with. And like we're too willing to concede space to shit in this society.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we need to switch the people out that are in government, not try to work with them. Like, they failed. They've literally failed, every single one of them. Even I don't care what party they are. They've all failed.
Yeah, no, 100%. And yeah, I'm not biased. Like, honestly, I'm like, if you're just not for the people, like, you need to be primaried and you need to lose your reelection. And she's not for the people, like, at all.
But here's the crazy part. Let's read that apology, because I was like mind blown. I was fucking mind blown. And I don't know what to make of it. Like, was the pushback was she doing, and here's my first thought. Is she doing this so it makes it easier for them to go at Representative Omar?
Oh, I don't know what her
did Kevin McCarthy and McConnell go like, hey, yo, crazy pants, go apologize so we can go after them again, because like they love to play the, we have the extremist card, but like here is a clear fucking extremist no matter who you are, right? Everyone's like, oh, this is crazy. So maybe maybe this is signs that she's actually been reined in to some degree by McCarthy and McConnell.
The people in the comments are, I just kind of wanted to add in that they're also saying that, the right-wing people and Republicans are more than comfortable having white supremacists and Nazis hang out with them. A few different comments on that. And Carnage also noted that Greene raises a lot of money for the party.
Yeah, that's why the Dems keep Pelosi around. It's not because the people of like San Francisco are like, just like things couldn't be better. I'm like, don't you guys have like a horrible homeless problem and just like so many, I don't even know where to, like the list of things of why it's problematic that Nancy Pelosi is still making decisions. But yeah, if you bring in the money, they like keeping those people around. And she's like this new face that is taking advantage of people who want Trump to still be around. And she's milking them for all that they can get. And that's feeding the GOP's funds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mindful skeptics voice 100%. She's the, like if any QAnon has money, she's the one who can then funnel it out of them.
Well, to that point, Hostile, so let's read it real quick. I've made a mistake and it's really bothered me for a couple of weeks now. There's nothing comparable to the Holocaust. I know those words I stated were hurtful, and for that, I'm very sorry. I know, yeah, that does, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, man. Here's the thing, like, coming from her, like, that might be as good as it can possibly get. I don't know. Do we think it's, like, I don't even know if it's, like, my place to, like, judge if it's genuine or not, but I can't help but find myself wondering, honestly. But I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, I don't think the statement I don't think ever bothered her. Anyone who's like that, they're just like Nazis, or that's just like the Holocaust. Like those people don't really understand the gravity of what a Nazi was and what the Holocaust was. So of course they don't really understand whether or not it's really comparable. I think it's just that, like I said, she had a lot of blowback from like the GOP themselves. So if like, you're not playing your part, they're not going to keep you around. So I think it's just more like saving face.
Yeah.
Yeah. That my ultimate take would be that McConnell and McCarthy reined her ass in, and to some degree.
And then Ron is like behind the scenes, and like I would just want to make sure he doesn't have anything else to add, and then I'll wrap it up and let people know to leave in the comments what they think.
Check my parents. That's for.
So yeah, so now we'll be able to hear you, Ron, if you want to weigh in. No pressure. If you don't want to weigh in, you can start in on the next segment.
Unmute, Ron.
And you gotta mute yourself.
There we go. All right. I just woke up. Can you tell? I was after work. I laid down for just a short nap, and then it was like 2 hours later. So, yeah, it's she's incorrigible in every way. She has found herself continuously on the wrong side of every single topic, and we know she's just not a person to learn from her mistakes. So something happened. I mean, I try not to put myself in somebody's head and tell you what they're thinking, but this woman has shown no honest come to Jesus moment so far, and all of a sudden on this particular issue, she does a 180. Something's going on in the background. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it has to do with Israel policy. I don't know if it has to do with Omar, like you said. I think that's a possibility. But somebody told her to straighten her shit out, and she did on that issue. So.
Yeah, 100%.
That makes me wonder too. Sorry, Shy.
No, go ahead.
I wonder, do you guys think maybe she's being groomed because she is getting so much attention, and everybody was just kind of ignoring her? Let's see what she does, and then she just took it over a line, and because she's so entertaining after losing Trump. I'm sure some people are just biting at the bit to get some more entertainment from our government, because that's what they do for us.
No, I don't think she's being groomed. I think she's a necessary evil in even the GOP's eyes. Because even shit-stain McCarthy takes a lot of shots at her.
Okay.
I'd almost say it must be Sheldon Adelson, but he died last year. So. Because he was very Jewish and very wealthy and gave a lot of money to the
who's being groomed, I think, is DeSantis.
Yes.
DeSantis.
So on that note, everyone, let us know in the comments what you think. Is this genuine? Is it not genuine? And what was her motive for trying to do damage control?
Oh, Ron's volume is way too low.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to tell him once we were like done
That
with
was
the
a
segment.
comment.
Yeah, done with the segment.
You wanna-
So, but I think I did the outro okay. Okay.
You did great.
Oh, yeah.
So like now we're just like in between segments. So yeah,
Put on your
Ron, we're going to do a
headset.
sound test until you get your act together, because I'm a really nice person, but like there's a lot of pressure when like Boyce goes out of town. Is like I can count on producer Shy to make sure. So
Producer Shy is doing great, by the way.
thank you, Matt.
Yeah, you really are.
Thank you, guys.
Hot Sauce has a lot to say. I don't even know what to say. Yeah, you should have signed up for tonight, Hot Sauce. Get your butt in here.
Hot Sauce, take my spot when we go to the open table session.
All right, let me know how this sounds. Is that better?
That's significantly better. I want to make sure that people in the comments are like, we
Yeah,
sound the
who-
same.
Yeah, Hot Sauce was the one that said he couldn't
Let me
hear
know how I
anything. Well,
sound,
and
everybody.
Carnage. Carnage and Hot Sauce. Can you hear Ron?
Can you guys hear me all right?
There's like a 30-second delay. So they're not ignoring you guys. They just probably haven't heard us ask the question yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's Matt. He's not feeling well. Yeah, it is still a bit quiet, Ron. It's better, but
Yeah, if you're on like a laptop or whatever, just bring it closer, Ron, so that maybe you're closer to the microphone.
Let's see. Let me try this.
How does this one sound?
A lot better to me.
That
a
better?
lot
Yeah.
better.
Okay,
A lot better to us.
I changed the microphone from the stupid webcam to the actual headset, so that should work better.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah. Steven, in my headset alone, I can hear you a lot better. So
Okay, great.
okay, so let me unshare my screen since we're not going to talk about Marjorie anymore.
Oh, thank God.
And I don't actually have Matt. I don't have a graphic for like, cause I didn't know it. I'm not going to sit there and like trivialize things.
No.
It's just
Yeah.
So this will be what it looks like for this segment. Foreign policy is like vastly more your thing than it is my thing. So
I got this.
yeah, there's like 6 bullet points. I'm going to let you, and then we can just anyone who wants to go back and forth with Matt, feel free.
I'm gonna introduce this one real quick, let you guys say your piece, and then give my wrap up. And I think Shy will close this one from there because I do have something specific I want to say on this. So
yeah, and I have to do the intro spiel, and then I'm going to shoot it to you. Okay, everyone, let's see if we can change their minds tonight. Matt, what are we talking about?
all right, guys. So news out of Israel is after an 11-day ceasefire agreement with the new call it regime, man, with the new regime coming into power after Netanyahu got ousted. The continuation of the same. We had tensions. We had tensions in Israel. There was a response, a minor response, and then Israel went full send with airstrikes again. It looks like there's no casualties at this point in time, but it's important because it's, again, in the aftermath of some pretty extreme violence, right? When you look at the decade, this was a really bad back and forth, man. This was really bad. And it's just 11 days after, and it's with the changing government. So it's important.
Yeah, I've just started seeing people talking about Palestine again on TikTok in the last 2 or 3 days. I've started following a few people, but all of the old people that I was getting updates from, last month, I've not seen them at all. I know that, people are saying they don't have internet and whatever, but there's still ways to get information out. So, I think it's important that we don't forget about them just because they go quiet, and it's like they went quiet and then there was nothing for a while, and I'm glad that we've made this connection across the world, and it's so disheartening, and there's got to be a way we can change things for us, for them, for everybody else that's being attacked. I feel helpless, and our government is useless. They're funding it with bombs, like, and money and supporting them. Like, I don't even understand. Like, nobody on this call or listening to this call has probably ever approved their tax dollars being spent on war in any way. I mean, I know I haven't. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I was going to say the day before we do the trickle up, Matt and I always work on like the agenda, like what we're going to talk about. But like this particular story, I was like researching up to the last possible minute just because it is like everything is relevant and changing constantly. But at the time that I did finish before I gave it to everyone at like noon specific time, no casualties had been reported. So I was like, I'm glad that that's kind of a silver lining to the horrific situation. But like, yeah, it's not good.
I think it's meet the new boss, same as the old boss. And Bennett's a tech guy, but he's also a far right guy, just like Netanyahu was. And I think this is his way of saying, don't think you're going to be able to get any kind of things like freedom or rights while I'm in charge. Don't think it's going to be any easier with me sitting in this house. And I think we're fortunate that there was no casualties so far, but I think that situation is not going to hold. And the Biden administration is pretty much useless in reining this in. There are far too many Christian evangelicals in our country that support Israel in whatever it does simply because they believe Jesus is going to be coming back and needs Israel intact to do so, and that it's part of prophecy. And then, they've kind of pulled this one-ender in a lot of ways, where if any criticism of Israel suddenly becomes anti-Semitic. And one can criticize the nation of Israel without criticizing the Jews in it necessarily. You criticize the ideas and the actions that the government is taking, not Jewish people. And there's a big difference there between the two. And we can never be afraid to criticize the actions of a foreign government just because they're made up of a minority or a certain ethnic group or anything like that. So, yeah, it's been a shit show for a long time, and it's going to continue that way. And I certainly don't like my tax fund, money going to this kind of nonsense, that's for sure. But anybody that really wanted peace would pull those dollars out, and you'd see some significant change pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah. So what started this was so basically, it's fucked up, man. It's just so fucked up. So Israeli nationalists wanted to march in Jerusalem to celebrate a significant day when you look back in history, 1967, which was them taking over land, which is contentious land right now. It's contentious internationally, okay? So Israeli nationalists, and remember, Bennett is a far-right member of the government. He just came into power, so these are his people. They wanted to march. Israeli police shut down shops, cleared out Palestinian people, and they were allowed to march. And so, yes, some Palestinians threw rocks after their businesses got shut down. Police moved people out. You can imagine what that looks like in certain cases. So yes, the people responded to government force, right? And then, of course, the Hamas responds because Hamas occupies a leadership position and the opposition, right, which is an impossible task to do, but they try to do it. And so, of course, yes, they responded with some fire balloons, incendiary balloons. And so naturally, Israel thought, you know what, we should fucking send some rocket strikes and possibly kill some kids today. So yeah, that's the state of things, man. That's what this conflict is, and that's why people get pissed off if you actually know what's happening there, because people try to make this out to be some like two-sided event when, yes, Hamas has issues with their ideology. Yes, I don't agree with all of Hamas's tactics, but what the fuck are you supposed to do in response to ethnic cleansing? Do tell. So.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. It's a one-sided conflict. One side has rocks and the other side has laser-guided bombs. And the truth is, if Israel wanted peace, it could get peace. But it doesn't want peace. It wants that land. And so it's going to continue to keep doing what it's doing. And it's going to continue to hide behind this idea that it's a two-sided proposition. And it's just not. Rocks don't compare with laser-guided missiles.
The one piece of nuance I'll give is that Hamas does receive a significant level of funding from the Iranian regime. And that is an important variable to note, because the Iranian regime will poke at Israel no matter what. So
I agree. And I think if you were fighting ethnic cleansing, you'd take funding from whoever you could to try and make it happen, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really want to encourage people to like weigh in and be like, hey, do you think this was like good or bad? Like, I'm like, no, obviously, like this whole situation is not ideal by any circumstances. So I don't know what you all want to leave in the comments, but whatever it is to the solution and what Americans could be doing to help with that solution is what I encourage people to leave in the comments.
because we send Israel $3.8 billion every year, that's just in unattached military aid. Almost all of that's military aid. They get billions more in loans. And like I always say, we provide them unlimited cover with the UN. So
Yeah, and if Ron and Heidi don't have anything else they want to add, I would say that's the segment. I think that's a good outro there.
I'm good.
Me too.
So again, this is like the in between. So if you guys want to like take a sip of water or like yawn or whatever, Matt, on the next one, the only graphic is the list of representatives who didn't think it should be a federal holiday. There's no other images to associate, but
we don't need an image for this one.
okay. So I'll just keep it like this and won't worry about sharing my screen.
If you want to open it, just kind of introduce the topic, and then I'll give the spiel, right? Because
yeah, and I feel bad, but like at the time when I made this, it hadn't yet passed the Senate, but it has since, I'm sorry, the House, but it has since passed the House. So but when I was like at my computer, Biden signed it, like that's where it's at.
I thought I just saw that he signed it.
it's gonna get signed though. Yeah, it's
Oh,
gonna
okay,
get
okay,
signed.
okay. Yeah, I was like that. I was gonna say like that. Yeah, it's not easy when you make the agendas for the night before. So
And also, I was gonna say, Shy makes.
Yeah, he signed it. So
it's a group effort. And Matt and I do it together. It's a group effort.
I toss her ideas, and then she does the hard work. Although I do the reading to begin with, which you also then do all the reading and additional reading. So
Yeah, yeah. I was like,
organization,
yeah,
and writing out, and invites.
It's a group effort. Yeah. See, damn it, man, because now I got to do the outro, and I've got like this weird ego boost all of a sudden. So.
Do you want more of an ego boost? You've done a great job every time.
yeah,
Thank you.
just bask in the glow.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's the ring light. It's like, this is very like a little bit inauthentic of what I actually really look like. I do feel like I need to get some sun though. Just
I bought a ring light and it's so cute and I feel very vain, but all I did was buy this little tiny, I don't know if you can see it yet. Look at that. It's like a tiny ring light. I'm getting a new phone tomorrow too, thankfully.
They need to start making different shaped lights, because I was in a hotel room and I was looking at my eyes and I had like a little square because the mirror had the line of light around it. It was so cool. I'm gonna get triangles and like look like the devil.
Yeah, I had to angle mine, otherwise it's just like, ooh, look, shiny.
Sorry, you know what? Matt's not feeling good. I shouldn't have gotten us off track. You need to go so you can rest.
Oh, you under the weather, dude?
You're fine. It's in between sessions.
Yeah, it's all good, guys. But on that note, we're gonna start the segment now.
Right.
Okay, let's see if we can change some minds today, everyone. We're gonna talk about, we're gonna talk about Juneteenth, which very rapidly passed the Senate and then passed the House, despite some pushback from some GOP members, and is on its way to Biden's desk, possibly already signed while we're doing this.
Carnage says it has been signed.
See, that's why, like I said, breaking news.
Exactly.
Right.
So on that note, let's just address what should always be addressed when this is what happens. We're not the ideal demographic to be having this conversation to begin with, full stop. But that being said, I think it should be discussed. And so you just try to acknowledge that and do the best you can and be open to any type of, anyone who first of all wants to jump in, any type of feedback, criticisms, something I got wrong, we got wrong, let us know, please. So ultimately it's a learning process, right? But I think Shy and I, we already spoke. I don't know, Ron and World Peace, if this applies to you guys too, let us know. But we both try to kind of look to African-American creators that we respect and really kind of try and listen to kind of gauge where they were at today with this news. And I think they're on the same page that we kind of were, which was there was a lot of anger. Not that this shouldn't be done, this should have already been done, but it's it's that this is done given the backdrop of what's happening in this country right now is kind of a slap in the face, it sounds like, because I know that's what it seemed like to me. And again, I'm so far removed from this, right? So I can't imagine how others would feel about this. But how can we as a country acknowledge Juneteenth, right, the official ending of slavery in this country, right, which is a uniquely evil, racist endeavor, right? How can we acknowledge that and then think about how that impacts our economy, our government, our laws, our country, right? And then at the same time, try to ban critical race theory. At the same time, try to deny systemic racism. It's mind blowing. Like it's literally mind blowing to me. I don't know, man. Like I don't fucking understand it. Like I literally don't understand it. So no talk of reparations, like you said, Shy. So
yeah, that's a note in our agenda where like, yeah, and I think maybe when we were behind the scenes, I did say that. I was like, the problem is, I'm like, of all the bills to be like prioritizing, making that a federal holiday is not the solution you think it is. So I almost said Democrats, but I was like, it is like the Democrats that I should be saying that to. Yeah, it's like,
all of them, because they all got this done so fast. It is totally performative because they all got this done so fast and so easily. What other bills are still sitting in the Senate right now?
It's very much reminds me of when they got dressed in the African garb last year. Wasn't that last year? And did their little thing. It was completely performance. And the reality of the situation is this, that probably 80% of Americans, if not more, didn't know what Juneteenth was till a couple years ago. When it finally got into, yeah, same here. I was never taught about it. And I'm a person that looks into stuff like that on my own. And I still had never heard of it, you know? And so it's not being taught. It wasn't part of consciousness until a lot of African Americans held a really big mirror up to us and said, take a look. You know, did you ever hear about this? Do you know about this? And of course, we all had to shake our heads collectively and say, no, we didn't know anything about this. And that culture didn't end when they signed this paper. We don't know our own history, and we either don't know our own history, or we deny our own history, or we're doing performance. None of those are an honest admission and an honest accounting for what took place, who did it, and why. And performance isn't going to heal the deep wounds in this country. Performance isn't going to fix the systemic issues we have. The only thing that can do that is a true coming to Jesus, accepting responsibility. And accepting responsibility means talking reparations. It means changing the systemic racism in this country where black men get put in jail many, many times higher than white people. It means changing the justice system. It means impacting the drug laws. It touches virtually every point in America because they're part of us. They're part of our country. And they're a valuable part of that country, but every day they are told they're not by our actions. So, yeah, I'm tired of this performance nonsense. How about we actually start doing something substantive?
yeah, 100%. Like this isn't like there's not like we have all the like Black Lives Matter awareness that we need. Like now we need like the legislation that actually makes the change happen. No one's like, well, I'm glad they brought June 19th to my attention because like now less people will be racist. Like that's not how it works.
Right. Right. And I totally agree with you guys. I mean, it is performative. And I think part of the reason is our government is so used to just doing these performative things and appeasing us, thinking, oh yeah, well, at least they did that, things are getting better. And I hope that the majority of this country is as pissed off as I am because it's not good enough. It is just not. And actually, one gentleman on TikTok, I don't remember his name unfortunately, but he made a really good point, which is, it's a slap in the face to everybody that cares about the situation in our country, which is people are being treated so unfairly. They're dying almost daily, if not daily, at the hands of government officials, the police. And they give us a national holiday for a holiday that should never have needed to exist. You know, like there's still things happening that are leftovers from why this holiday even existed in the first place. Like, it's disgusting. I don't know if I said that very well, but I hope it was clear.
No, you got it right, because that's the whole point. It's like they're literally outlawing us from learning about the impact of that date as they make it a federal fucking holiday.
Right.
That's fucked. It's so deeply fucked. Like, it's so deeply fucked. And half this country, and honestly, more than half this country, really, because that's the point. You hit it earlier. It's the Democrats and the Republicans. Look, the Republicans are pretty overt with it these days, but the Democrats are performative, and you just hit it. The reason why they think performance works is because performance works for the good old patriots, right? Just slap a red, white, and blue label on it, and it's all fucking good to go, right? Have a little flyover, and everyone's rah, rah, rah. But here's the thing. That's because they haven't actually felt oppression, right? When you've actually felt oppression, you don't fucking buy the bullshit because you felt real pain, and bullshit doesn't fix that. That's why this would never fucking work. That's the thing. These motherfuckers don't actually understand. They're not listening. They don't give a fuck, right? That's why it's so disingenuous, right? When someone's like, oh, like, what about what Candace Owens said? It's like, so yeah, no one denies that, like, no demographic of people is a monolith, right? Of course, like, you're not going to get 100% agreement on any group of people. So why are you so willing to point to the 10%? Because you dismiss my view based upon her view, but then you don't listen to the 90% who disagree with her. Really?
Right.
Apply that.
Yeah,
That's my point. These fuckers don't ever apply the same logic. They don't ever apply the same anything. They act in pure bad faith. And if we think we can act in good faith with them, they will drag us down. They will absolutely drag us down. That's what we fail to understand. And that's why I'm at the point that I'm at. Like, I'm like, it's crazy. This is craziness. I don't accept it anymore. And I encourage you all to stop accepting it as well.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and like, don't kid yourself. Like, if you're already on a pathway to like racism, my racism views aren't racist. You're the kind of person who thinks that it's obscene that Black people have an entire month because of Black History Month, right? Like, you're not going to be happy that there's suddenly a federal holiday that you have nothing to do with. So, like, it's not solving anything that the core group that we need solutions for, the racists. It will not move the needle on them being less racist.
No.
Bread and circuses, and it's putting a Band-Aid on a gushing wound and smiling and saying, look, everything's fine.
Yeah, if you guys don't have anything else to add, I'll do the comment outro. So I'm going to suggest, like, not whether or not you disagree or agree, because obviously you should be like, we need to validate this day in history. But I would be curious what people think would have been a better bill to try to push through. And when I was researching this topic, again, I just looked into what other what Black creators specifically were saying, and what came up a lot was reparations, the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, and the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. So that's what I would say.
George Floyd crime bill too. Just yeah, all of those guys.
You mean concrete actions that make change. Yeah.
Yeah, and we need them in a few days, not months. I don't understand why.
We needed them 400 years ago, apparently.
Yeah, really. We need them. My heart is broken about this whole world we live in. Truly. Sorry to be a downer.
It's a downing situation, especially when you see it over and over again.
It's why people ignore it, though. And here's the thing I'm always going to have to remind us, like, if we feel this way, imagine how other groups feel.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I try to remind myself. Yeah, if I'm ticked, if I'm down because of the news, how must they feel,
Yeah, be careful, because I feel like that's the mistake that white people keep making. We think we can imagine it. I don't think we can.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. Is that like Matt said, a lot of us haven't felt real oppression.
Right.
But yeah, I did the comments thing, Matt. So we are officially, the 4 topics that you and I did for the agenda are officially, it's in the can. It's like up to now for boys to cut it all up.
With that being said, thanks for letting us run the show with you gone, boys. Appreciate that, man. Hope you're having a good time in New York.
Yeah, he was in the comments, so I think he's making sure he approved. So yeah, I guess with that I should click in broadcast.
A hot sauce, or some of y'all, if you guys want in Carnage, I think I'm filling up to it. If you don't want to just try, but I can do the restream tonight if people want in.
Okay.
If you guys want to continue the conversation, so
Yeah, I'm down.
we can do that. So
Mindful Skeptics. There was a bunch of comments I didn't read, but earlier, by the way. But Mindful Skeptics says you guys rock. Carnage says all of y'all are amazing, great stream. Hot Sauce says Carnage is my girl. Little fun, maybe. And
thanks, boys. Back at you.
So yeah, I'm just looking for Matt's cue to actually broadcast. But I was like, I could tell that Heidi's reading, so I'm like, well, I'm not going to do it just right this second.
So you guys, I think you all know where to find us, though, right? Everyone who's in that chat. If you don't,
Cheyanne for UBI on either Twitter or TikTok. And if you get there and you're not following, like, what are you even doing with your life? So make sure you're following, and then just hit me up in the DMs. And with that, go ahead, Matt.
Follow Braces for Impact on TikTok. Follow I Eat World Peace on TikTok.
And Mute the Media, but just bug me in the DMs. Like, don't bug them. I wasn't just trying to shout only myself out.
Some of my best content comes out of DMs. Feel free to bug me in the DMs.
Michael says, great stream, guys.
Who?
Michael.
He's just messing.
Michael who?
And on that note, we'll end the broadcast.